Whew. Okay. All right. Is that happening? There we go. Got a little floor dog down here. Hey, floor dog. Hey, floor dog. Oh, come on. Come on. Come on. You want to still be a floor dog? You can be a floor dog. I don't care. That's all right. Okay. Dogs on the floor. Hello, everyone. As you can see, things are starting to empty out behind me here. My back is killing me because every single one of those... This office was 14 Apple boxes worth of books. And there's another library I still have to package up, and my back is killing me. So still got to deal with the furniture and all that stuff. Welcome to an After Dark edition of Houston. We have a problem. Big news day. Lots of news going on. Probably the biggest news is that Pete Hegseth managed to add an Atlantic reporter to an illegal group chat held on unsecured devices, discussing top secret war plans about bombing Yemen, Houthis in Yemen. Hegseth's like, that didn't happen, blah, 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 blah. But the White House already has been like, yeah, we did that. So Hegseth should resign. He should never have been confirmed in the first place as Secretary of Defense. He should just resign in disgrace, get fired by Trump or something. Pete Buttigieg had an excellent point. He said that Trump made his career by firing people on a reality television show for the dumbest shit. So why can't he fire this guy over something legitimate? Hegseth is an absolute disgrace to the uniform, to the United States of America, and to drunks everywhere. So yeah, that guy should be sent along packing. Also, Tesla is rallying really hard based upon only bad news. No one wants their cars. People are still setting them on fire. And there's $1.4 billion missing that they can't explain for in their capital expenditures. My guess is that some billionaires and Saudis and stuff are rallying around Elon and boosting the price of his stock. We'll see what quarter one earnings are like on around April 22nd or whatever that week may be. My guess is it's going to be bad. So, but on the good news is that it still looks as though the earnings estimates on GME are really, really low. Remember, they beat earnings last year. The original earnings estimates were like 6 cents a share. Then all of a sudden they bumped it to 19 cents a share the day before earnings, and they got 22. So they beat it, but it wasn't enough to like make everyone excited. Their earnings estimates are still at 8 cents a share right now for GameStop, when they've made 27 cents a share in just interest off of the cash they have on hand. So my guess is, unless for some reason right before close tomorrow they change the earnings estimate and jack it way up there, they're going to be earnings by 20 cents or more. Not too shabby. So I'm going to take a gamble. If the stock price still climbing, remember I've got 25s right now. If it climbs 26, whatever, I very likely am going to sell right before close, buy as many as I possibly can at the money or 50 cents above the money right before close, and hope that they whoop on earnings, because these earnings estimates are really, really, really low. Freakishly low for how much cash they have on hand they can earn interest off of. So maybe I get blown out of the water. I'll probably end up back with the $500 I started with on this options play. But if that's the case, so at least I'll be able to get out with what I started with. So it won't be that much of a gamble. But if they whoop on earnings like they did in 23 quarter end of year earnings report, you can see this thing go up $10, $11. So, they may try to do like, the total revenue is down, but they're closing stores and making themselves efficient or whatever. So, if they beat earnings by 20 cents or more, that will cause the stock price to go up quite a bit. So, I'm shooting for that. We'll see what happens. I probably am stupid. It should just go to split the difference on it, but where's the fun in that? So that's what I'm doing. Anything else I need to add, Monkey? Yeah. Yeah. All right. No, she's cool. She's on the floor. She doesn't care. How about we haven't done one of these in a while? All right. Boop. Off. Stephanie L's got a super chat right off the bat here. Klarna, the buy now, pay later lender, is headed for initial public offering. Said on Thursday that it's signed on DoorDash as a partner. How can one make money off this news? Buy on first day? Seems like it. I mean, the fact that we're going to buy now, pay later on things like DoorDash is as much of a recession indicator as anything I've ever seen. I want to know how Klarna expects to make money off this long term. Are they going to like package this consumer debt into securities and put that on the market and give them like AAA bond ratings? Like, you know, we've got 10,000 Chipotle burritos. We've got Red Robin burgers and Wendy's in this package here. It's a real good package because only the poorest of the poor will do something like buy now, pay later on dinner delivery. And those are the people who will never pay that back in the end. Can you imagine being hounded by creditors over like a burrito that you haven't paid back? And then all of a sudden you get like dinged, you can never get stuff delivered to you again. It's just asking for disaster. But my guess is it will run until it can't anymore. So yeah, Stephanie, probably getting in there at the ground floor price, letting it do a little zoom, and then it's probably the best way to make money off of it. Yeah. What a dumb world we live in. Oh my gosh. It's bad enough that like, you know, I'll order something online to like, do you want to do an installment plan? And it was for like a $5 bottle of some sort of cleaning product, right? Because I'm trying to like clean the house. The pink stuff. Someone told me to get the pink stuff. So I ordered a bottle of pink stuff. It was like $4.27. Like, do you want to do a payment plan of like $1.22 a month? No, I don't. I'll just pay my $4.79 or whatever right now. Send it to me. Sean Chang, first. Good job. Corp Walnut. If tomorrow isn't exciting, I will be livid. Kelly Reed, happy birthday, HW. DoorDash is doing buy now, pay later. Man, depression going to be brutal next McDonald's credit cards. Yeah. Kelly Reed, DNA of 15 million people for sale and 23andMe bankruptcy. Dystopian every day. Good thing Elon won't have it. Wait, shit. Yeah. Another reason why I've never done one of those DNA testing things. MacroTurf. I've been watching since Chatter. Year over year, the doom has extrapolated. The market should have hit rock bottom several times, especially now. However, green. What the heck, man? Yeah. Don't look behind the curtain is basically what's happening right now. Trump yesterday is like, I'm going to take back some of the tariffs, you know, it's April 2nd, won't be as bad as people are. And then today it's like, I'm announcing a whole bunch of new tariffs. So basically what he's done to everyone is he is playing them like a yo-yo, just up and down, just toying with the emotions, the fact that people will just stop responding to anything, right? Because like, you know, it goes up and down, and then you just follow that mean graph. And nothing will shock you anymore. So when he does finally do something really shitty, you're like, well, he said he was, but then he said he wasn't, but he said he was, but then he said he wasn't. And so, you know, I'm hoping I make a good pretty penny off of GME this week. If I got a good little egg from it, I will hopefully be able to get a whole bunch of daily options for the 2nd of April. Because whatever he announces, my guess is that SPY is going to drop a lot on that day, $20-$30, and I can make a good number off of that. That'd be really nice. And then, you know, set up for the next play after that. But seriously, we are in the dumbest timeline though. MacroTurf, just absolutely stupidity. Trizzy Cates, damn, I think I'm 5th. You are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good job. G-Font, 600. What time to be? Oh yeah, I'm at 600 today. And I still owe everyone for the 500 prizes for the 500th show. They're just sitting in a giant pile behind me. And I got I got the label printer, I got the thing, but now I'm moving and I have to just set everything up again. Maybe by the 700th show, I'll have everything sent out to everybody. Jeez, my knees. I still owe, like, for Charity Tuesdays. And tomorrow's Charity Tuesday as well. It's snuck up on me in a hurry. We're going to be doing for the Adventurous, which is a charity my dad volunteers for in his retirement, which is a big giant schooner that sails around the Northwest and teaches kids how to sail and do survivalism and teach them about the old ways and whatnot. And my dad works, taking a piece at a time of the boat and restoring it to its, original 1890s glory, and then they put it back on the boat and he gets another piece and he restores it. So, and it's our first charity where we're going to get a 1-for-1. So every dollar you donate, corporate members will donate $1. So we raise $1,000, we'll actually raise $2,000. So that'd be nice. I wouldn't have one of those before, so we'll have that. Peachy Sunday, hi Houston. Tesla is surging on no news. Hopefully you're not holding any puts. I am not holding any puts. I am holding nothing. I'm playing GME options at the moment. I will get back into Tesla puts though. Probably closer to Tesla earnings in April. Unless, some more horrible news, like all of a sudden Tesla can't be insured by anybody anymore. Stuff like that. But it's giving it, what's good about it is giving it a lot further to drop. And they bumped it up $60 in the last week on nothing but terrible news. So when it finally does, go puny pop, I'll take it. Walter Strada, Moas was supposed to happen 400 episodes ago. Yes, it was. It's supposed to happen way longer ago than that. Sis54, Houston, how are your options going for GME and financial advice? I'm up, 68% on them so far? I have 25s, and I think they've topped out maybe 168 today. It might be like 160 right now. GME, oops, no. I want here. GME options chain. Let's take a look-see. I gotta turn on the Chrome. Chrome on. Chrome on. Chrome on. Chrome on. So I'm sitting on 25s. These are 167. Okay, so I'm up 67%. Not too shabby. After hours, stock price with 27.75. So stock price even up a little bit after hours. So that's a little bit more. If we get up to like 26, I'll probably get 26.5 or 27s. I'll probably sell for profit, get twice as many, because I'll be able to get these guys for around $1, a little more than $1, as many as I can. And then sit on those, hoping that we do like a $10 or more after hours if we really beat earnings. And then they'll net me about 1,000 each. Then at open on Wednesday, if that's what happens, I'll sell instantly. Because the implied volatility will be up after a big open like that. And then I'll purchase puts at the money, because it'll probably settle down another $5 after that big push. That seems what happens when they do a big earnings beat like that. And so, let's say it opens at like 37.38 Wednesday morning. I will get put options, weekly put options, at that 37.38, and then it'll settle down at like 32, and I'll pull 500 off of each one of those. So that will allow me to, if I can get 10 plus call options Tuesday afternoon, about 10,000. That would net me about 100 puts. So you get about 50,000 off of that going into Friday. Not too shabby. That's probably how I'll play it if that's what happens. Because what happens if somehow they don't beat earnings and then it gets hammered after hours like it does oftentimes. But we haven't had that big, giant implied volatility push. But implied volatility is still like non-existent. I mean, look at this, 6%, 12%, 25%. This is silly. Normally, going into earnings, this is like 300 or 400%, and it's just not right now. It doesn't make any sense to me. So, it's when you think something weird is going to happen, because normally they go for the IV crush. Earnings happens, They push it down a few bucks after hours during earnings. The IV crush kills everybody who had weekly options on that Wednesday, but there's no IV crush to happen. So, well, that means I have really nothing to lose. Like if it gets pushed down a couple dollars, then I'm right back to where I started when I invested on Friday, and I get out with my money that I started with. So not too bad, not too shabby. I'm okay with that. So I'm gonna gamble and go for the let's beat earnings. Let's have a huge boost after hours and open big Wednesday morning. Sound good? Yeah, sounds good to me. I say we go for it. Okay, bam. Whew. For a second there, I had a heart attack that I had left the intro on, but I didn't. Whew. Okay. Citizen 54 also asks, not financial advice. Also, our government is cartoonishly incompetent. In the words of Geology, it go down in the DM. Our secrets are now shitpost. Speed run to stupidity. I mean, you just need that. Oh crap! What was that character's name from The Wire? Stringer Bell. He's like, "Is you taking notes at a criminal conspiracy?" Kevin, if this earnings call is a dud, I may lose my effing mind. Makes sense. Rose Moon, been here since day one. Can't believe all that's happened in 600 streams. Here's to hopefully not many more until MOAS, and then maybe more after that. Okay, so we can do a calculator game. Let's do the calculator game, because why not? It's late at night. We can calculator it up. We can shwood bop. Calculator. Clear that. What is this door? All right. Turn that off. Oops, that's off. Go there. Turn that off. Calculator time. All right. Okay. Let's remember. Calculator time is pure fantasy world. It's all about theoretical possibilities, right? Not anything beyond that. Just pure. Every choice we make is 100% right, which is never how it works. But it's fun to play, right? So let's just take my play right here. I took a whopping $500. I bought 5 $25 call options for $100 each. Boom. So I have 5 of those suckers. Let's say the stock price gets to about $26 tomorrow, which puts me at about $200 per option. So I'll have $1,000, right? And then I buy those 26 5s, 27s for $1 each, right? For $100. So I get 10 of those. Let's say they beat earnings. Earnings go nuts. Woo! Stock price, they beat earnings by 20, 30 cents. Things go nuts. Stock price goes up 10 bucks. Those suddenly become $1,000 each. So I'm at 10 grand, right? Stock price at $37, $38. With that 10 grand, I now buy at the money puts at $37, $38, whatever it ends up at on Wednesday morning. So those might be about $100 each. So now I have 100 of those puts, right? Let's say it settles down $5 after that, and we close the week at $31, $32 on that Friday. Everyone's happy. We're in the max pain zone. It's maybe max pain. We're cool. So now I'm at 50K. Okay. What's the date for the second? Falls on April 2nd is a Wednesday. All right. So I may hold off on doing any plays until the following week because I want to look at the first and second. So let's say Trump over the weekend says, well, more tariffs, blah, 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 and things get weird Monday, Tuesday. Monday afternoon, I take this 50K and I buy a whole bunch of at the money SPY puts. Remember, the second is when those tariffs go into effect. So things might be a little on Tuesday, right? But there'll probably be one of those days where it goes down $10 and comes up $10 and overall is a flat day. So I buy a whole bunch at the money puts, maybe Monday right before close. So they're probably 250 to 300 for the day of. Let's say 300, right? Oops. So now I've got 166. We'll just call 166 SPY puts, and it drops $8 to $10, right? Let's say $10. So that's, you know, oops, 1,000 on each one of those suckers. So 166,000 by 2:30 Eastern, and then I take that and I buy a whole bunch of at the money calls for the rest of the day, right? So those are probably about $200 for at the money. 830 of those suckers, and it goes up $7 or $8 before close. Okay, because that's what happens. Happened a lot before these big tariff days. Is it drops $10, goes back up $7, $8, $10 or so. So let's say it goes up $8. I'm now at 664,000 by Tuesday afternoon. Going into Wednesday, the second, when we're supposed to slap on tariffs like nobody's business, right? And the Trump said, we'll take some off. But then today's like, we're putting more on. Because he's, you know, just jerking everyone around, being a yo-yo. So I buy as many at the money puts as possible day of going to the second. So $664,000, $300 a put, right? I can get 2,213 of them. So 2,213 of those suckers. If we slap those tariffs and they're even half as bad as they said they were going to be, the SPY is going to drop $20 to $30. So if it drops $30, right, you're now at $6.6 million. Done. Done. Now you can take all your money and put it into long-term Tesla puts, right? You can get Tesla puts at like 220, probably for $300 a pop. Get just boatloads of those suckers, tens of thousands of them. And then when Tesla finally drops, you're at tens of millions of dollars, if not more, and you're really good to go. So calculator time's fun, right? Because nothing goes wrong during calculator time. You know, Trump doesn't announce that he's not doing the tariffs at all, and all of a sudden the SPY does an absolute reverse on everybody and rug pulls the entire system. Calculator time is all about making the perfect trade each time. We are like professional level billiards players calling bank shots off all sorts of things and doing tricks. So, yeah. There, calculator time. Yay! Okay. Where was I? I did the calculator time on that. I did Rose Moon. Ford ZZ9. Happy birthday, Houston. How are things looking for tomorrow's options wise? I think okay. I think, you know, if it doesn't stay at about where it is today, it might go up to 26 or a little higher at some point tomorrow before settling down a little bit before close. And you know, I will gladly reset at whatever point that happens and get a whole bunch of options right before close at maybe 50 cents above the closing price, maybe $1 above the closing price, depending on what the price is. And then I cross my fingers and hope that at 4 p.m. tomorrow, when they drop that earnings report, we see that huge spike happen because they just whooped on earnings. Floor Dog, you like that? She's out like a light. She's not unresponsive down there. She's comatose. Loby, Houston. Hope you weren't too busy packing today to see the unreal but not shocking news about Hegseth and Company Signal Chat. The bar gets lower every day. Oh, it is the bar. Pete Hegseth is the bar. He is full of alcohol. He is the bar. Stephanie L, am I 11? Maybe. Legacy 10 Productions, Houston. With Tesla ripping, is now a good time to gobble up some puts? Fisher's mattress. I think they might let Tesla rip through next week. I think the SPY and Tesla will probably rip for the rest of the week without too much bad stuff happening, because they want to offload as much of the burden as they can onto all the dumb retail traders, like, oh, fear missing out, right? And then when the tariffs hit on the second, then they go yoink and just drop everything. So yeah, that's my feeling. Murphy Studios. Oh wait, the second part of your question here. Does some drop some knowledge on opals? How do they form? Where are they mostly found? Well, okay, rock time. got to go there. Got to go to Google Earth. Boink. Got to open up Google Earth. That would help. Un momento. Google Earth's got to do its thing. There it is. All right. So, where do opals form? How do they form? Opals are a beautifully kind of stacked matrix of water and silica. Silica dioxide. So what quartz is made of. So if you have a watery environment and a bunch of silica in it, it will pack itself into opal. And the more perfectly stacked it is, kind of like stacking cannonballs on a ship, right? The more iridescence you're going to get out of it. The less perfectly stacked it is, the more white and bland the color can be. So to look for opals, you want to look for where silica-rich volcanoes have erupted and where water sources have been. So I have an opal claim in central Wyoming here. Not really going to point to where, but I have one in central Wyoming here. And the opals are among the largest opals ever found. I'm talking opals the size of like SUVs. They're thousands and thousands of pounds, millions of carats. Some of them have very precious opal inside of them. Most of them are kind of common opal. But the reason why the opals here are so big is because the Yellowstone supervolcano. This caldera right here is that once every 600,000 to 1.5 million years, this thing erupts enough to put us into a volcanic winter and rains down ash in just gigantic amounts across a huge portion of the United States. We're talking like ash up to 10, 20 meters deep, right? And so if you got the winds right and you have an ancient bog or something that might have been in here, then you fill up that bog with a whole bunch of fresh silica, finely ground powder little silica, and it combines with the water and it makes for opals. The most famous opals in the United States are Virgin Valley in Nevada. Virgin Valley, Nevada. Virgin Valley up here. And there's an ancient volcano system about 20, 30 million years ago that has eroded away that was up here. And that did a gigantic eruption. And there used to be a big, giant kind of stagnant lake that was about at what is the 3,500 foot level in here. And it rained down ash into this bog. And there's whole, like, you know, it's like mangrove type trees, but freshwater ones were in that bog. And it rained down. There's animals and creatures in there. And so it covered everything with ash. And everything was in that bog water turned opal. So you get to that 3,500 foot level and you dig out these old like tree stumps. They're about this tall because that's about how deep they were in the water. And it's opal. And it's just a perfect tree stump. Everything else wore away and everything else got replaced by the opalized material. So you can find fossils from trees, fossils from animals. The most famous one I know that came out of here was a fossilized snake, like skull and fangs and everything into this beautiful black opal. We get opal, there's opal in Oregon. There's like yellow fire opal in Oregon from volcanoes. You get there's some opal found on North Fork of the Snoqualmie River up in here somewhere from volcanic eruptions. Common opal is pretty common. Like if you go to the Blue Lagoon in Iceland, right? Let's get ourselves oriented here. The Blue Lagoon is what, here? Here. Can't remember. Somewhere over here is Blue Lagoon. Is it? That's the town that's currently threatened. The Blue Lagoon is... Shit, where are you? I could just type it in. The Blue Lagoon, Iceland. Oh, over on this side. Dang it. That was the wrong side. So the Blue Lagoon over here. So you can see how like pale blue all this is. This is because of the silica-rich water. Now the Blue Lagoon is not a natural thermal pond. It is from their thermal plant. This is the runoff from that thermal plant. But you know, you go in here and all this white you see here, the white you see along the edges, this is all opal that is forming along the basalt rocks. So you go there and you can feel the really smooth opal on the surface of everything. If you've ever been there, you don't want to dunk your head in the water because then you'll get opal replacement into any small fracture in your hair, and it'll make your hair really brittle and it'll just kind of snap. You don't want that. But all this white is all opal replacement happening on the spots that touch this lagoon water. Other famous opal regions, you got like Wello opals in Ethiopia. Let's do Wello, Ethiopia. Boink, boink. So Wello, South Wello, Ethiopia. This is also a volcanic region. So this is the East African Rift Zone that goes through here, right? So you got volcanoes all through the East African Rift Zone down into like Tanzania and Kenya and stuff. And ash outfall, great, this is Wello, falls into this region where there's lots of like little rivers and ponds and things. And so ashes fell into this zone and made all sorts of opals as opals replaced other minerals and formed in pockets. So you get lots of black opal, really cool kind of milky crystalline opal from Wello, South Ethiopia. If you watch the movie Uncut Gems, this is where that giant opal that Adam Sandler's character came from. When I watched that movie with my roommate, and so they unveiled the opal. I'm like, that's a really nice opal. It's like, how much is that worth? I'm like, uncut, maybe $250,000, cut, several million. And then they get to auction that movie, and he's like, he thinks he's get several million for it, and he doesn't because it's uncut. And I was like, that's how it goes. But the most famous opals on Earth come from Australia, a couple regions in Australia. The most famous are probably Lightning Ridge black opals. Lightning Ridge, Australia. Ba-ba-bum. These guys here. These are the most famous black opals on Earth, the most expensive opals in existence. They sell for $10,000 or more a carat. Almost all of this you see, all these scraggly little bits, these are all mining operations into the soil. And these are ancient opals. These suckers like formed probably several hundred million years ago, because most of the volcanics that happen in Australia are really, really ancient. Australia is flat as shit because everything's eroded down. You know, there's craton here that's 3.5 billion years old. So these are really ancient opals, and these are chunks that you get in Lightning Ridge. The next ones are Coober Pedy. Coober Pedy, South Australia. These are kind of the white ones you'll see. These are way out in the outback. Again, it's all mines. You can see the white stuff here. It's all surface mining happening. And Coober Pedy is a town that is once underground. So you, when you get your mining allotment, your mining claim, you dig underground, and whatever you dig out becomes your house. So there's like these famous, shopping centers and grocery stores and people's homes and stuff all built into the bedrock. And you're looking for these veins that happen. And inside these veins are where the opal settled out. Again, really ancient rock out here. And there's a couple other spots. Come on, sorry, Dead Guy Monitor just crapped out on me. Come on, Dead Guy Monitor. Just reboot. You're gonna be fine. One more time. There we go. There's a Colroyd, Victoria. So Colroyd opals are really cool looking. These are boulder opals, which means you get a chunk of rock, and in the seams between rocks, the opals will form. So Colroyd down here in southern Australia. And then my favorite are the Yowa opals, Yowa nut opals, Yowa, Queensland. These, I think, are the prettiest opals in existence. I may have showed you some pictures of them a couple weeks ago. But these Yowa nut opals, I'm not even sure how these opals form. But Yowa out here in Queensland, in the big dry outback part of Queensland, they make the prettiest opals in existence. And you can see this all mining operations for opals, all this here. That picture have a name? There you go. Here's a old. It's called opal mining equipment. So this is an old tumbler. So trommel. So basically, you dump stuff into the hopper, and the drum spins, and it classifies all the material, and you get things of a certain size that come out the end. Yeah, this is all old opal mining equipment stuff out here. Yowa Fossicking area, so you can go out and look for, I guess, fossils, probably opalized fossils, be my guess. Oh, here, look how red that soil is. That is so red. But while we're doing that, let me show you again the Iowa nut opals because they are the prettiest things ever. And when I did a Kickstarter, I gave one away to do my TV show. There we go. Iowa nut opal. Whoops. Help if I spell it right. Images. Here we go. These are, I think, just the prettiest freaking stones. They're gorgeous. They have these like crazes in them. These tiny little filaments that fill up all the nooks and crannies with black opal. And they're just the prettiest damned things. This one's huge. Look at the size of that guy. That's 630 carats. That is only $3,000? That's a screaming deal, man. Damn. But they're called nut opals because they form these little, they come in these little circles. So this is the nut. This is a one that's been cut in half. So they form these little nodules. And I think they're just the prettiest things. Like there's only like usually little filaments of fine opal and everything else is common opal. But the way it fills out is just pretty as heck. I think they're gorgeous. They're my favorite opals. I used to have some. There may have been one that went in the prize when I did my really shitty treasure hunt. Can't remember now, but I know I gave a beautiful one away at Kickstarter. But these are my favorites. I think they're the best looking opals. Look at that freak. That thing's cool, man. It's like a geode opal. There's another gigantic one. They're just so freaking pretty. Anyway, those are my favorites. But it's all about replacement material for fossils and for just packing in a whole bunch of silica into water and just filling it out until it just kind of settles and solidifies. Now, Australian opals are generally about 5% water and the rest is silica. So they handle heat and temperature differences, humidity differences really well. The black opals that come from Virgin Valley and Nevada are like 20% water. So usually you can't use them as jewelry. You just keep them in a little snow globe and they look really pretty. But if you let them out, they will dry out, turn white and craze, which is when they get cracks in them. And then they aren't worth anything. Opals make for great jewelry, but you don't want to have them for anything that will make contact with stuff. So you might want to have as a necklace or earrings or even a bracelet. But if you have them as rings, you will tap them and they'll just chip and break. You don't want to have opals for like a wedding ring or anything like that. It's a really bad material for that. But pendants are a great way to have them. Because then, aren't gonna like smack them on a counter by accident. So, but if you do them as rings, they will chip, they will break. They look really cool for a little while, but then they chip and break and then it's useless and oh well. But yeah, opals, volcanoes, silica. Yeah. There is an opal material found in Louisiana that is a sedimentary opal that came downstream from somewhere, from some silica-rich place. Wow, what are those? What are the ones called? They're pretty cool looking. They look like a piece of sandstone that kind of glitters. Louisiana opal sedimentary. Vernon Parish opal. That's what they are. Vernon Parish opal. Images. So these are sandstones, if I remember correctly, that had ground up opal that sort of made part of the matrix of the sandstone, and they could be pretty neat because it's like normal conglomerate material you'd find concretions with these opal bits inside of them, and I'm not quite sure where the opals came from that made these things, but they're pretty neat. They're kind of similar to those Yowas, but with like smaller matrices than that's California one. Here we go. Here's a Vernon Parish opal. It kind of looks like polish looks like like a pool deck that for some reason has opal inside of it. They're pretty cool looking. Here is in the rough before they get polished. There's a decent sized one. They're kind of neat looking. And if you're in Louisiana and go to Vernon Parish, you might be able to get some. So Is there a Wikipedia for Vernon Parish opal? Nope. Vernon Parish opal formation. Sandstone opal called Louisiana opal, Louisiana sand opal, found within the Catahoula Formation. You're a Catahoula monkey. Did you know there's a formation named after you? Yeah. So hydrothermally deposited when silica-rich water seeps into hollow cavities. Okay, so probably from hot springs then. Opal acts as cementing agent, binding sand grains together in sandstone. All right, cool. I learn something new every day. So this one came from hot springs, silica-rich hot spring water. Neato. Okay. Where? This thing feels a little bright today. I'm gonna turn you down a notch. Oh, that feels better. Okay. Where are we? Where was I? Murphy Studios. Hoping for a double intro because the After Dark theme is banging. Well, you didn't get one tonight. All right. Corporal Walnut. I have a very significant amount of calls at all times, so I don't have a significant amount of anxiety at all times. Yeah. Propose stupid. What's the over-under on Hegseth being drunk as fuck while texting military plans group chat? I give it a probability of 1. That being he's drunk right now. I think he was drunk when he gave his press conference earlier. He is an alcoholic. So one of the guys who sued me years ago, who I crushed in court a couple of times, he would get drunk and at night because he was an alcoholic, and then he'd be like, "I'm gonna fuck with you," and he'd like send me stuff. He'd email me like, "You're a dead meat guy," and then include damning evidence against himself. I'd be like, "What? Why would we do this?" Like one time he messaged. So I wrote an article about him, basically pointing out abuse and all sorts of things he was getting away with. And so he sued me for defamation. And he originally he tried to file a lawsuit, but didn't really go through all the steps for it. So then he filed a harassment restraining order, which I got served with. And you have to go to, after 2 weeks to get that order, you go to the municipal court and you state your case. So he drunkenly messaged one of the prosecutors for the county and was like, "I want you to arrest Houston for harassment. Charge him." And she was like, "You got it, buddy," because they're both lawyers. "You got it, man. I will arrest. I'll show up to that hearing, and when the judge, says he's guilty, I will arrest him." And then he gets drunk and he forwards this communication to me. And so I wrote the prosecutor and I was like, "Hey, I noticed that my opponent messaged you saying you're going to have me arrested, and I do want you to come to the hearing because I'm going to point out that he's going to perjure himself at least 20 times during our hearing. And he should probably lose his law license, and you should probably arrest him for perjury." And she was like, "I'm not here to do your bidding," blah, blah. She was really mean to me. Anyways, we show up to the court hearing, and she has to announce her presence. She's like, "I'm a prosecutor, gets out county, blah, blah, blah." And the judge's like, "Okay." And we go through it, and I destroy him, absolutely obliterate him in court. Every lie he makes, I got a piece of evidence like, "I never abused my family. Like, here's convictions for abusing your family, etc." And he perjured himself. I forget what the count was, but it was like over 30 times he perjured himself during that court case. And the judge made note of it, and I won the hearing. And the prosecutor, rather than like doing what I said, like, "Hey, bust him for perjury," she just was like, "God damn it," and got up and left. But it wasn't the only time. He would send me documents that I had no idea about. He'd be like, "Yeah, you're screwed." But then it would be like a whole bunch of like, "Hey, look at me, I'm a criminal," would be in these documents. And I think Pete Hegseth is that kind of drunk that he's like this weird self-destructive drunk that does things without ever knowing he did it. Like I bet the dude who sued me has no memory of sending me incriminating evidence against himself again and again and again, like without me requesting for it. I think Hegseth is one of those types of guys. He just gets so drunk that he starts misunderstanding things and not knowing what he's doing. And he's like, "Well, it'll be fine if we included a dude from the Atlantic in here." Or, saw the name Goldberg and thought he was someone else. Like, which people should look for if there's any Goldbergs in the Trump administration. That's probably who he meant to be sending this stuff to, not to the Goldberg at the Atlantic, because he's just a drunk idiot. Pete Hegseth, you're a drunk idiot. You are. Fuck you. That's there. So yeah, I think he's drunk as fuck at all times. Joe Nick, what do you think of the rumor Trim will put a ban on naked short selling? It's going to be really hard to enforce when they're getting rid of everybody at the SEC. So it's gonna be hard to do. It's gonna be hard to do with that happening. What are you doing down there? Are you panting? You panty little dog? Huh? Hey monkey, come on up here. Come on, buddy. Come on. Everyone wants to see you. Don't just be a floor dog all day long. Come up here. Come on. Oh, stretch out. You can do it. Come on. Right there. Right there. Want a little help? You need help? You got it? Ready? Yeah. There you go. There you have the jump. You have the jump on your one leg, but everyone can see you there. Wait. Rumor put a ban naked short selling. I doubt it. Maybe if the entire market like absolutely implodes, they'll be like, "Oh, put a ban on it," as some sort of savior. But right now, Citadel needs all the naked short selling they possibly could do. There's rumors that they're like $900 billion into Japanese carry trade, that's likely underwater. So yeah, I don't see it happening. There's too many Republicans that are doing naked short selling for them to do it. It's the rich guys who spend lots of money to them. I don't think it's going to happen. And Jodek, apparently the northern magnetic pole is moving away from Canada. What does this mean? It's slowly moving. About every 15 to 60,000 years, the poles do a flip, and north becomes south, and south becomes north. But it's been drifting. As long as we know about the poles, it's been drifting. We can kind of follow the map here. Polar drift map. There we go. So this is showing polar drift. Basically, it's going around Greenland. So magnetic north was once very close to the North Pole itself, the physical North Pole, and it's been drifting ever since then down the side of Greenland here. That's really tiny. That map is too tiny. Images. So, does I have a good one showing the velocity of the North Pole here? Show me North Pole velocity. That's South Pole. That's none of you? That has to do with currents. Yeah. Oh, that's transpolar drift. Okay. So the transpolar drift is kind of moving in that general direction. And I don't know why they got the gyre for the Arctic Ocean here as well, but the ocean really has nothing to do with the polar drift. It has to do with the molten goo that's inside the Earth, just kind of moving and wobbling over thousands, tens of thousands of years. But what will ultimately happen is eventually it will just end up at the South Pole. What we don't know is how quickly that happens. It looks like from geologic record that it happens pretty quickly. Let's see here. Let's do sea floor mapping, magnetic pole shifts. Images. Okay. Yeah, so what we see, so we got the spreading ridges, like the big mid-Atlantic spreading ridge where the magma comes out like a conveyor belt and pushes the continents apart. If you remember that spreading ridge, this is sort of good here. And the magma comes out, and when it solidifies, it gets aligned with the poles, depending where the poles are. And what we noticed is that they shift. They go north, south, north, south, north, south, and so on. It shifts how they get aligned as they come out over time. And the rate at which they move gives us an idea of how often that pole shifts. And it appears as though it may shift pretty quickly. Like it might drift, and whoop, all of a sudden, and just end up on the opposite side. We have no clue what it does to wildlife. We have no clue what it does to the atmosphere. We have no clue what it does for things like solar radiation and galactic cosmic rays. If all of a sudden the magnetic field weakens around the Earth, we don't know. We don't see much evidence of that being the case. That just sort of just flips, but we still have a pretty steady magnetic field protection. But it does seem to be pretty much a pretty that guy monitor just crapped out again. A pretty static line that happens. It just flips one day, and that's that. So, yeah. If we look at like the mapping itself, what it looks like in a magnetic mapper, you get these tiger stripes like this going across the rocks. So that's sort of, it flips. We just, have no idea how quick it actually is. My guess is it probably is pretty quick, just seeing the way those lines are made up. So it may happen in just a matter of a couple of years rather than like decades or hundreds of years. But yeah. For Garcia, my bad, everyone. I bought puts on Tesla. Obviously, this caused the recent price to go up significantly. I'm sorry and fucking low. It happens, man. Happens to me more than I care to wish. That's why I like playing the calculator game, because you never lose in the calculator game. You always win. That's in real life when you lose. Says 54, dealing with a syphilitic, paint chip loving, ketamine fueled, alcohol soaked administration. Elmo is a retard, spoon twirling idiot with no real ability. This is Tiny Chainsaw, rather good part of it. Yeah, I mean, you summed it up fairly succinctly there, says 54. Peachy Sunday. Seems that free speech and due process is, in this is dead, especially if you're an immigrant. Oh yeah, if you're an immigrant, you're screwed. I read the account of the Canadian woman who was in the American Pie movies, what she went through. So she's an actress, had some success, and here and there, and then started like a nutritional food company based in LA. She'd been visiting family, arrived in LA to go back home and work on her business, and they detained her. And they took all of her belongings and sent her to basically a concentration camp for weeks, where you don't have access to your clothes, you're wearing jumpsuits, your food is crappy, you're drinking water out of a toilet system thing, it's cold, it's miserable, you have no access to an attorney, right? And she's like, look, I will buy my own ticket back home to Canada. And they're like, you're going to detention. And sent her ass to detention, where she spent weeks and weeks and weeks. But because she's wealthy and somewhat known due to the fact that she's an actress, after 2 weeks, they're able to like send her back to Canada. And she's like, well, I guess I'm never going to America again. I got to sell my home and my business and everything else. The other folks don't have the opportunity. She talked about in her sort of article she wrote about how she met women that were here on green cards. They were suddenly scooped up and their green cards were just removed from them. And they're in these camps. Women that came here when they're 5-6 years old. Their siblings are citizens, and they're now going to be going back to countries they don't even know. Articles about the Venezuelan gangsters that they rounded up and sent to that horrible prison in El Salvador. Like, you're not even deporting them to Venezuela, you're deporting them to a prison in El Salvador. The guy's a gang member because he's got a tattoo. It turns out it's a Real Madrid tattoo, and the dude's a professional soccer player who was beaten by the Maduro regime and got political asylum here in the U.S. Or a gay, very effete hairdresser, right? They're like, that guy's a gang member. And he's like, I'm not a gang member, right? Not only that, but like, of the hardcore gangsters they did send out, like, oh, that guy is a hardcore gangster. There was a dude who's the head of MS-13, right? He had charges for murder, conspiracy, grand theft, RICO, like, you name it. they dropped charges and deported him to El Salvador. This gang member, this gang leader, had dirt on the El Salvadoran regime. He knew how the cartels were operating through El Salvador. He knew how the gangs were operating and how they were connected to the president of El Salvador, right? And as a result of just like, send them to El Salvador, we now don't have any pull on the president of El Salvador or the gangs that run through there or the cartels, because their information source is now in the hands of the guy who had the dirt, he had the dirt on. Like, you can at least charge them with their crime, convict them for their crime, and then deport them when their sentence is over. That's normally how we do it in the United States. But no. Now we're in the dark. It's just, we're so fucking stupid. Every bit of this is just for show and so dumb. You know, if you're an immigrant in the United States, I hope you don't have any tattoos. I hope you don't have any tattoos. I hope you're always carrying around like a burner device with you, because, you know, they want access to, I think they said today, that if you are a green card holder here on a visa, the United States government is demanding access to all social media accounts you have, your emails, your phone records, all without warrant, right? Because you're not an actual citizen, so you have no actual rights in this country, is what they're claiming. But even then, they're talking about stripping U.S. citizens of their citizenship and deporting them. You know, Donald Trump says he wants to deport anyone who vandalizes a Tesla. That means you're persona non grata in your own country where you're a citizen all of a sudden. They'll strip you of your citizenship and send your ass to an El Salvadoran abuse prison. That's what they want. It's horrible. No due process whatsoever. Just like, well, I determined you a vandal. No more citizenship. Send your ass to El Salvador to get yelled at in Spanish by a bunch of School of the Americas junta mercenaries. And that's our future. So, yay, America! That's what you voted for. Hooray! Yay! Anyway, Treetop says, what up? The opposite of down. Kikadian says, first. You were not first. You were long from first. Homer's Ghost, Bing Bong Cheers. I haven't had Jamie on a long time. E Minimus, best camping in Pacific Northwest. Depends on the type of camping you want to do. If you want a car camp, say you've got 2 little kids, you want to go car camping there, E Minimus. I think going to like Solduck Hot Springs is probably my favorite place to go. It's where my family will go every summer. We spend like a week at Solduck Hot Springs. You camp. They got like a little mini mart shop, so if you had one like an ice cream bar, you can get that. But then they got the hot springs. So you go sit in the hot springs all day and eat lunch and have a great time. Then you can hike to like waterfalls and take day trips to little other parts of the Olympic National Park. But there's also other camping options in the Northwest. You can go to places where there's rivers and creeks and lakes. You can go out into the desert where it's hot, right? And like you can go like Soap Lake and hang out in some nice warm lakes in the summertime. You can, if you're feeling backpacking worthy, you can go up to like some old ghost towns like Monte Cristo. Do some hiking up to the alpine levels with these old big glacial valleys where there's old gold mines and stuff. Those are pretty cool. If you're feeling like, you know, mosquitoes ain't no thing, you go into the Gifford Pinchot National Forest. You can get like some really cool lava tubes and bogs and stuff like that way deep in the forest. You can go on the other side of the Olympics where the rainforest is. Actually, you might not be able to because the roads kind of damaged the whole rainforest. They haven't, and they don't have any money to fix it because of Trump. But I'd say whole rainforest is awesome. Like you get there on a nice day when it's not pissing rain. The moss drinking from all the trees, and there's just elk everywhere, and the elk are like do not care about you, so you can walk pretty close to them and they aren't gonna like kick you in the face. They're just gonna eat their moss and give you the side eye. Going to the gorge is pretty cool. You can be on the west side of the gorge where the trees are, or go over to the east side of the gorge where it's all deserty. It's pretty awesome regardless. Lots of cool spots along there. On the Oregon side, you got Bridal Veil Falls and Multnomah Falls, and on the west side, like around White Salmon is really neat. And then you can go down to the gorge itself and watch all like the kiteboarders and windsurfers do their thing. Going into Oregon, another cool spot I always loved was Honeyman State Park in like Central Oregon. It's where the sand dunes are. And you can take these like cool trips on these giant sand dune buggy monster truck things. And then some of the sand dunes have these little pocket lakes. So you bring or buy like sleds, like you'd for snow, and you slide down the dunes into the lakes. That was always a lot of fun as a kid. A lot of the state parks are neat, especially the old military bases like Fort Stevens in Oregon, Fort Worden in Port Townsend. We have like the old military stations are still there, so you can climb around the bunkers and the old gunnery towers and stuff. There's lots of like crazy dark caverns you can go crawling into. Kids love that stuff. I was a kid. I love that stuff. And Fort Stevens is also of note because it's the only spot in the continental United States that ever got shelled by the Japanese during World War II. This kind of randomly submarine popped up and like shot some shots into Fort Stevens. Then there's like cool sites like Dungeness Spit is really neat, except with two little kids, you don't get much appreciation out of it because it's like a 5-mile hike along the spit and two little kids aren't going to do that. So you're going to need wait till they're a little older, but it's really cool. Big waves crash there and you can like get rocks, big giant flat rocks that are like this big around and manage to skip them if you can. I always enjoyed that. Yeah. Then you can go out to like La Push. You can go down to in Washington, see like cool rock stacks and big ocean waves, and you can go to places like Ocean Shores, which is kind of a retirement community, but they also have some sort of like summertime hokey, go-kart racing and things. But then you got, huge stretches of beach you can drive on because the beaches are considered part of the state highway system. So you just go driving out on the beach. That's always fun too. But yeah, I recommend those. How's that sound? Sound good? And there are a lot of hot springs all over the place because there's volcanoes everywhere. Kikadian, don't say I'm not first. Don't lie. You're not first at all. C54, 1.4 billion is what's being used to prop up Tesla. Remember, they only need a few million buckaroos to pump up stock. A billion plus goes a long way. Human centipede accounting. Yeah, not a moth. I think Tesla is pumping because market makers have sound retail, have sold retail a shit ton of puts. That's also probably true. Sis54, unethical pro-life tip. Use the social from one of the JFK docs to sign up for Klarna. Incompetence leads to creative solutions. Oh, social security numbers that were doxed. Yeah, why not? If you're going to do Klarna with buy now, pay later, just steal people's identities and order your Chipotle burritos that way. Silver Spocks. The financial media has been pretty quiet around this upcoming earnings. Could it be they're fearful of the uncertainty? Usually they are bashing the stock in the week leading up to it. It's true. Usually they're bashing the stock, they're revising the earnings estimates, and the implied volatility is insane. And none of those things are happening right now. It's like, they're like, if you're playing a card game and you see your opponent making a mistake and everyone else on the table sees them make it, they all of a sudden get like really quiet. They don't want to like jinx it and make them know that they just made a mistake so that when it gets to your turn, you can capitalize on it. That's what it feels like right now. Like they're all so quiet about GameStop at the moment. They're just hoping we don't notice that there was a mistake on the board. And the next turn, that person's going to run with it. That's kind of how it feels like. It's almost too quiet. You know what I mean? Know what I mean, Monkey? Do you want a chunky before we go? You want a monkey chunky? Yeah? You want one of these suckers? Little ear nuggie? Want ear nuggie? No? No, you want it? Yeah, there you go. Okay. Sometimes I just don't know if she wants it or not. Oh, she's getting it. Okay, ear nuggies. Listen to that crunch. Okay, I'll do like 6 more minutes, and then we're gonna go away for the evening. 1 more minute of big crunchy sounds. Striker 747 Houston, are they really getting rid of the SEC? If they're not getting rid of it, they're making it so useless that they may as well have. Another 400 people today are basically let go from the SEC. It is not that big of an agency. There's only a couple thousand employees. All right. How many people work at the SEC? They have 5,000 employees. Basically, 10% of the staff is gone already. And they have to oversee $110 trillion U.S. capital markets with those now 5,500 or 4,500 employees they have. And it's still underemployed. 2022, there's 4,807 of them. They lost 400 to 500 already. SEC to lose 500 staffers to buyouts, resignation offers, which Elon's never going to pay. So, if you're a government employee and you get a buyout or resignation offer, I'll give you a 6-month salary. He's never going to pay you. You're going to have to sue, and you have to claw it back through the courts, and it's going to take years and years and years and years, and you're finally going to get awarded it if you can afford the lawyer to take care of it. So hopefully your union can take care of that for you. But he's never going to pay you. He's never paid any of the people at Twitter that he gave those severances to, and he's still getting sued for all those. So, yeah, don't take it. Just show up to work, do your job, take your normal retirement when time comes. Green-eyed bandit elixir, green-eyed bandit elixir. You see the vid from the grandma kicking the guy's butt? He had a stun gun at the Berkeley Tesla protest? I have not seen that. Grandma fight Berkeley Tesla protest. Okay, let's see here. So, oh, grandma. Ah. So I guess this dude was tasing people, the guy with the long hair. That's funny. Don't mess with the grandmas, man. Especially don't make it so obvious that the sheriff's deputy actually has, or Berkeley police actually have to like arrest somebody who is not a hippie. That's funny. All right. Works for me. Works for me. How do I stop that? So he's a 33-year-old Trump supporter with a taser. 33-year-old Trump for Rick Fuse. That's a good name. If you're on like taser, Rick Fuse is a good name for a taser vigilante. Was arrested trying to tase protesters at Tesla dealership in California. Funny. Fabrizio, remember chat used to be, hey Houston, how high will GME go? Oh my god. Painting with Daphne. Oh, Daphne's calling Painting with Daphne now. Excellent. And click on Daphne's Painting with Daphne thingy. She started a new how to paint channel. She's teaching people painting techniques and things on her channel. So by all means, subscribe to Daphne's channel, friend of the show, moderator extraordinaire on our show for years now. So yes, Houston, why are you packing? Where are you going? I'm moving. So that's why I'm packing. So after 7.5 years, it's time to move. That's okay. The monkey's going to be ground floor. I don't have to worry about stairs anymore. So that'll be nice. That'll be good for her. Right? Right, buddy? But terrible for my spine. It's a lot of, I hate moving, but I got a lot of books. That's why I hate moving. Kelly Reed, Game Share, let it rip already. Indeed. Bishop is here. Shane E. My fun bet is for calls on the inverse Tesla for June. Post their earnings, which should be brutal. June earnings will be the worst. Maybe July. July? When they do their earnings, their quarter twos. Whatever quarter two is for Tesla, it's going to be absolutely miserable. Miserable. Because remember, quarter one, they at least have a chunk of January, which might have sort of normal sales. But after that, the April 22nd earnings will be bad. The whatever earnings are for quarter two are going to be in the toilet. Now, like, when one side, say Democrats, leftists, anti-Nazis, things like that are protesting Tesla, normally the super conservatives are like, oh, I'm going to embrace it. But the problem is the Teslas are too expensive for them to be like, I'm just going to go buy a Tesla, like support Elon. They can't afford it. And they don't want some, lame electric vehicle. They want muscle cars going blah, 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 right? They want to pay $3,000 a month for a Mopar. They're not going to buy a Tesla. So they just aren't enough Nazis out there who actually want electric cars to support Elon's company. He shot himself in the foot. He killed his entire demographic of buyer, which are leftists, green Democrat yuppies, right? Those people are who buy Teslas. There's a couple libertarians out there who'll buy a Tesla, but not enough. Most of those libertarians want their big trucks and go hunting and shit like that. They're not buying Teslas because those are like soft, right? They want diesels with torque and F-250s and whatnot. They don't want an electric car that has to get charged at night and, feel like they have to get their nails manicured. They're not going to do that. So he's completely obliterated the entire market for his cars. It's just not there anymore and will never come back. So, yeah. Why is my video so far behind there? Weird. Looks like my video's frozen on one side here. Can you guys see it still? No one's popped up here. Did my internet die? I didn't even realize it yet. Oh well, it's time for me to go anyway, so. Nunamoth is the winner from the treasure hunt still around on the channel. Yes, he pops up every once in a while. I'm not gonna tell you who he is, but he does pop up every once in a while. So yeah, he's there. Boss fight shout out if you learned what opal is from the old school Windows game Jewel Thief. All right. Kale DG, all my fans bros at work want Tesla still. It's wild. They're gonna end up getting Rivians anyway. So they're better. All right. Everybody, tomorrow, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, Charity Tuesday for the adventurous. So help my dad, help little kids learn how to sail on really cool old school boats. So, yeah. Summer, you did the math wrong on GameStop. On what, the earnings per share? If they make $130 million off of interest from their $4.6 billion and there's 475 million shares, it comes out to 27 cents a share. I don't understand how I did that wrong. Care to explain? What's 400? What's 130 million divided by 475 million shares? It's 27 cents a share, right? Because they do about 260 million a year. Maybe 260 million a year in interest off of that 4.6 billion if they have them in bonds. So seems like it should be right. Right, monkey? But anyways, we can argue more about it tomorrow on Charity Tuesday. Well, we raise money for a great cause, right? Okay, it's nighttime, after dark, schlap. I wish someone would scratch my back like this at all times, but Monkey really seems to not care at all. She's just the only creature on Earth that does not care about having her back scratched. And I would just love it. Someone touch me, please. See, side eye. That's all I get out of her.